Welcome to the Kindness Project, the podcast designed to share stories of kindness and share how kindness can make positive change in our world, one small act at a time.
Kindness Project, we talk about enjoyable numbers, obsolete careers, and we have part one of our interview with Will Rainey.
Welcome, my friends, to another fun-packed edition of
The Kindness Project.
I am joined by a girl who is under exam pressure. Under pressure. Did you hear that breath, podcast listeners? Because that is a girl who is under pressure. Anyway, and I'm joined by a...
And I'm joined by a man who watched me tip my chair over and still walked away.
It was funny.
It's Chris Day.
It was hilarious.
I was like this.
It was like a Charlie Chaplin sketch, except it wasn't silent. Anyway, how's your week been?
It's Monday. Well, no, it's Thursday for you guys. It's Monday for us.
Sorry, why are you giving away all the trade secrets? It's Thursday, clearly. It might not be Thursday. You might be listening to this on a Monday or a Tuesday or a Wednesday or a Friday or a Saturday or a Sunday. Yes,
or
my
a day
friends,
that is yet to exist because you could be listening to this
in the future.
in the future
when there's an eighth day called Day. That's what I'm calling it, Day. Like,
So, how are we spelling day? Like M-H-A?
M Day. Day.
That's going to confuse the children when they write in their learning books.
Why?
I don't know.
Day.
I always find
And then if we had
consecutive letters very confusing.
If we had a ninth day, we're going to call it Ooh Day. How about that?
And the 10th is just, wah!
Wow Day. Whoop Day. Anyway, we've invented 3 days in the first 1 minute 46 seconds of the podcast.
That's how long those 3 days
pretty
last.
standards. Now, what are your subjects for today? Because normally you come up with some scintillating topics. I mean, last week it was bridges, with some scintillating topics for us to have a chat about.
We were gonna talk about frogs, we were gonna talk about Egypt, and we were gonna talk about obsolete careers. But I had a lot of time yesterday, where I was just like in my own head. I was doing stuff, but like
you were thinking about other stuff.
I was thinking about numbers.
Right.
Now, most people, they have like one favourite number, but I spent a lot of time yesterday thinking, so if I had to order numbers by how much I enjoyed the sound of them, or enjoyed the way they looked, what would the order be?
Go on then, what number would you start with?
Always my age minus 1. I just like it.
16.
Yeah, at the moment it's 16. Last year it was 15.
Why is that your favourite number?
No idea.
Your age minus 1.
I just like it.
And then next?
And then after that it would be round numbers, so anything that ends in 0. And then multiples of 5. And then...
It would really mark up maths, though, wouldn't it? If you had to order numbers in just your age minus 1, and then just there is a really good way of ordering numbers. Start with 1, go with 2.
Also, they're not as satisfying because after
the idea of numbers isn't to satisfy you, Charlotte. It's so people it's so people can actually count stuff.
Yeah, but after 5s, multiples of 5s, comes multiples of 3.
Up to what? Up to what?
Any. Just multiples of 5.
What, to infinity?
Yeah. Yeah.
But then we'd never get round to the rest of the numbers, would we?
No, this is the order I enjoy numbers.
Yeah, but then, right, if you're using multiples of 5, right, I get it. Your age plus 1, perfect.
Minus 1.
Minus 1. Your age minus 1, perfect. Next.
Numbers that end in 0.
Up to what?
The end.
Right, so you never get round to using all the other numbers. All those useful numbers.
Yeah, but if they appear, like, if you were to give me some numbers, I'd be like, okay, these aren't very pleasant, numbers that end in 1.
Give me an example. Give me an example of numbers that end in 1 you don't like.
91.
How about...
81's pleasant, but 91.
How about when your age is 22 and your favourite number is 21?
You missed the rest of it, which was the one after numbers that end in 5 that are multiples of 5 is multiples of 3 below 39. And then after that is multiples of 7.
Are you confused? Listeners, are you confused? Because I am. I mean, this is getting bizarre.
And then below that is multiples of 7 that are lower than, that are higher than 84.
Even she's confused.
84 or lower.
Literally.
Not multiples of 7.
We've got a perfectly good way to put numbers in order. Start at 1, carry on with 2, and then go 3, 4, 5. Perfectly good.
And
Can I just say that subject, right, is interesting because
11's not nice.
I think the way the French say numbers is just like they have better names for numbers. Like 11, for example, which is, not amazing in English. Ons. Like it. Ons.
Yeah.
12. 12's not bad. Not as good as douze, is it? And
Well, I quite like the way
10's better than dece, though, isn't it? 10's better than dece.
yeah, but in Welsh 10 is deg. So if you were to say 11, it would be undegun.
Undegun. Oh, I
If
like
you were
it.
to say 15, it would be undeg pum.
Now, the weird thing about the Welsh is they either go for super long words or super short words.
Yeah, but it just stacks up. So it's 110, and then
Yeah. Well, it's like Roman numerals, isn't
Yeah.
it? Like
so if you were to say 14, it would be undeg pedwa.
Pedroir. That sounds like a Spanish waiter. All other nations are available and we love the Spanish.
I just don't know any other languages.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Pedroir. Hello, Pedroir. Yeah, that's the Welsh kid. That's the Welsh bloke who works at the post office. Hi, Pedroir. Anyway, what were your other subjects?
There's a bloke before the rest of the post office.
No, there's not. Who was your other subjects?
Frogs, Egypt, obsolete careers.
Let's talk obsolete careers. What career was just now currently obsolete?
Blacksmiths.
Cobbler. Saying that, there are still cobblers about.
And blacksmiths.
Yeah, I mean, it's just more of a
Niche.
boutique niche industry,
Yeah.
isn't it? Blacksmith and cobblers now. But
Roman soldier.
no, but Italian soldiers are still required, just not soldiers that.
Roman centurions, though.
There's just soldiers that don't defend the Roman Empire.
Members of the Legion are no longer required.
What about barbarians? Barbarians.
I
would be
mean, it
obsolete,
depends. Are
wouldn't
you playing D&D or are we living real life?
they? Yeah. So, what careers are obsolete? Oh.
You know what career isn't obsolete? Professional bed tester.
You would win at that. Professional bed
Considering
tester.
I don't actually sleep a lot.
Is there a job that is professional chair faller? Because you'd definitely win at that.
Professional product tester.
Yeah.
Right, let's.
Right, how
Whatever
sturdy
could
is
go
this?
wrong,
How sturdy
it's
is
gonna go wrong.
No, I've just got this image of you in a lab with these product designers going, that, my friend, is the sturdiest chair in the world.
And then I
And
just
you just
decide,
wandering up going, we'll see about that, won't we?
and I just decide to stand on it.
Yeah, exactly. So professional chair tester is a non-obsolete career. But what would be the obsolete career that you would have enjoyed doing the most? Highwayman. You don't see many of them about, do you?
It's because there's not that many foot passage highways anymore.
Well, just imagine, just trying to do that on a motorway. You're money of your life!
Instead of a horse, it's a motorbike.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I suppose you can hijack people on the motorway, but it wouldn't be as easy a job. So we reckon a highwayman is potentially obsolete. Unofficial question of the podcast, this isn't the official one. We're not even round to the question of the podcast yet. We'll get there. Is what obsolete job, and we might use it as a future question of the podcast. Maybe. We might do it next week because we need one. What obsolete job would you love to do? Or what job do you think is the most obsolete in the world at the minute?
Do you know what job isn't obsolete but should be? assassin.
I think there's still assassins about.
If I said it wasn't obsolete.
No, it's true.
There's plenty of
Give
assassins
Peter
about.
chance and all that. Yeah. There's not that. I mean, that is quite an uncontroversial opinion. Should assassins? But actually, it was called hashashish. Was it? Or is that a rumour? Anyway. Should we get on with the actual question of the podcast? Unofficial question of the podcast again. How do you feel about assassins? Anyway, official question of the podcast this week is: what's your favourite smell? What are you sniffing at the minute that you really like?
Maybe don't word it that way. Maybe don't word it that way.
Anyway, let us know what your favourite smell is at. That was proper David Brent there. Did you see that? No, go on.
At Ola Kindness on Twitter. If you just type the Kindness Project in Facebook, I was just going to say .co.uk, but if you type that into the search bar and Google, that will work. We have individual Twitter handles, so yours is at Chris Dames, if I remember correctly, CHRISDAEMS, and I'm at Charlotte J Dames, CHARLOTTEJDAEMS.
And you can find us on Spotify or on iTunes or on MySpace or Friends Reunited, all of them.
Or that secret radio channel that we have playing our first episode constantly in loop, but you know.
Yeah, exactly. Which you can only hear if you're on our secret
Assassins.
Anyway, and thank you for the tens and thousands of you. What are you doing with your life? You're surely got something better to do who listen to this podcast.
Is it tens of thousands of people or is it tens of thousands of downloads?
It's tens of thousands of downloads.
So how do we know it's not like the same 20 people downloading it on like 30,000 different devices?
Because the reality is, why would you do that?
I don't know.
Why would 20 people download it on thousands of devices?
I don't know.
Anyway, if you are doing that, share the wealth, because clearly you're enjoying it a lot if you're downloading it on a lot of devices. If you're not, and actually it's quite a lot of you listening, come and say hello. Tweet us at Chris Dames, at Charlotte J Dames, at Holokindness. Get in touch. Like us on Facebook, do all that sort of normal stuff. And on that particular note, shall we get on with the show?
Yup. The next segment is...
Kindness News.
Stealing my thunder once again.
So you've got some news for us?
Yes,
You've got some good
okay.
stuff going on in the world?
Open the door. No, that's the background behind. Okay, here we go. Restaurant serving thousands of free meals to homeless is saved by donations from DC community. If my Wi-Fi would work, thank you. Restaurant owner known for feeding anyone, regardless of whether they can pay for their meal, nearly lost his business because of the pandemic. Then the local community began giving in the most generous way. Since a family member posted a GoFundMe campaign for his DC restaurant, Sakini Halala, that's not how you say it, Halal Grill, Kazi Manan has received over 331,430 from more than 7,100 people.
This is the thing. This is the argument that said that if you are kind and good and generous and you're known in your community, I'm not particularly spiritual, and I know that there's an argument to say that people would call this karma, but I believe that if you're known for being a good person and help people, actually that kindness is returned when you need it the most. And a man at the
Sakini Halal
Grill is clearly an example of that.
I used to preach don't let anybody fall and pick them up, said to his donors in an interview with NBC Washington. You pick me up and I am overwhelmed. I have tears in my eyes, tears of joy. Thank you, America. Thank you, generous people. Many of the thousands donating see Manan as the generous one. Before COVID-19 hit, he was serving up 80 free meals to people in need every day. That says day. That's a mistake.
Sorry, don't grammar check.
Someone should alert them to that. I used to see people looking for food in trash cans. It would break my heart. The streets of downtown DC became deserted as people began working from home in the pandemic. Banana let his employees go. He had to close the grill. At last, the family member decided to launch a GoFundMe campaign for the popular restaurant on November 11th. That's how old this story is because I planned this weeks ago.
Yeah. And then did a good thing for the community for years, and his kindness was returned when he needed it the most. Because I think that's the other argument, isn't it? You know, we there are times in our life when we need help, and there's times actually when we're relatively self-sufficient. I think give back when you can, and you know, I suppose the other thing is don't be afraid to ask for help when you actually need it, and certainly lockdown has meant that some people have actually needed it. So thank you for sharing that story. We've only got time today for one kindness news story, so we'll come back to the others at a later stage.
Cool.
Thank you, Charlotte.
Cool.
And on that note, we're going to go to our interview. Our interview today is with a guy called Will Rainey. Will Rainey runs an organisation called Blue Tree, which effectively helps educate kids on money, and he does it in a wide range of innovative ways. Now, I believe that educating kids about how to manage money is a kind, ethical thing to do, but also Will talks about the reason he did it, how he got involved in this sort of work, how it helps people, and the family decisions he made that got him to the point of making this judgment. Shall we listen to Will?
Yes.
Will, hello, mate.
Hello.
Hello, how are you? Hello.
We're feeling we are in. Today's a good day already, Will, because I got my exam results today, and I am now officially a chartered financial planner. So that's all good. Yeah.
Well done. Congratulations.
Two odd years of quite intense work has paid off. So this is Charlotte, by the way.
Nice to meet you, Charlotte. I kind of know you now because I've been listening to the previous podcasts.
Oh, well, thank you. I don't listen to them, so I don't know how they actually come out.
Probably as silly as we think they do, but yeah, all good. Right. Let me just get your questions up. And I'll be with you. 2 seconds. You're doing audio and video raps, aren't you?
Yeah, audio and video.
Okay, cool. How's your week been, Will?
It's been good. Today was my daughter's last day at school, so we just had their Christmas show. So that was
how'd it go?
Really nice. So yeah, they didn't tell us much about it. So we got there and we were quite surprised. Though my eldest did some narrating for a play they did, and the youngest did a bit of dancing and singing. So yeah, that was amazing.
How did they deal with social distancing at all, or anything like that?
Well, remember we're in Vietnam, so we don't have to worry about that. We're kind of essentially COVID free at the moment. So yeah, we're free to mingle and not worry about social distancing, which is.
Do you remember that? Do you remember those times?
It's been so long. What has it been? More than 12 months?
No, now the vaccine's here. It's all good. We'll get there. Right. Okay. Sorry. That was
as you cough.
Yeah, just a cough. So we know. Okay, Charlotte's got to go in about half an hour, so we're gonna start the interview straight away. I've just realised my light shines directly into your eyes, doesn't it? Your glasses.
It's chill.
It's all good. Right. Okay. So, Ras, are you ready? Should we start?
Yeah, we're ready.
Good. Okay. Good stuff. Hi, Will. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Good. Good to hear it.
Yep.
You know what? Let's just share it with our podcast guests. Today's a good day. Number one, apart from my frog in my throat, I've passed an exam today, which means that I'm a chartered financial planner. All good.
Ooh,
and you've been to your daughter's school opening, which is a school Christmas celebration.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm now in the Christmas spirit. now I've got to contend with my kids for 3 weeks.
Yeah. Good luck with that. So, what plans have you got for the Christmas period?
Not much, actually. We're gonna just hang around the house, really, and we booked into a nice hotel for Christmas Day with lots of friends and stuff because we can't be with our family.
Yeah.
So it should be a nice day though.
Good.
A bit of Christmas for us.
Yeah, good stuff. So I know we spoke before and we said that it'd be really interesting to interview you on the Kindness Project about the work you're doing helping educate kids about money. Tell us, before we start talking tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, perfect. So I'm 39. My name's Will Rainey. So I've been kind of in the financial services kind of industry for 17 odd years. So born and raised in Essex, moved to Surrey, but then in 2014 moved to Hong Kong. So with my work. And then in 2019, so late last year, we moved the family to Vietnam. So we're doing a bit of a world tour. So I quit my full-time job last year. So instead of sort of advising on these kind of big corporations where they should put their kind of millions or billions of pounds and dollars, I thought, no, I've had enough of that. Let's do something a bit different. Moved the family to Vietnam for a bit of a life experience, to see kind of a different culture, and also to be able to live by the sea and and have a kind of eat the food, which is absolutely amazing. So we did that, and so we did that, and then I started Blue Tree. Important. I'm married with 2 young daughters, so I've got 2 daughters. They are 6 and 8 years old.
Okay, cool. Did the move come first, or the idea about Blue Tree come first, or was it a bit of a sort of like sort of both things coming together?
So it's definitely the move. So I was planned the move probably about 3 years ago, and at the time I was like, right, we're going to move, and at the time I'm going to try and solve a problem because I'm going to have all this time on my hands, but I didn't really know what that problem I was going to try and solve was. And then as I kind of talking to my daughter and friends, and then the idea of helping parents teach their kids about money seemed like something that wasn't being addressed by many people, and I thought it was so important. So I thought, right, I'll use my kind of finance background and the conversations I've been having with my daughter to start Blue Tree. So it kind of came together nicely.
Charlotte's got a question for you, but before we get to that, what age did you start talking to your kids about money?
Yeah, so probably was probably about 4 years old, but then properly talking to them a bit more detail, probably around 7. So started talking about pocket money, etc., and starting that from probably 3 or 4, but then probably going into a bit more detail, some little stories, etc., from when they're about 6 or 7. So, but that's talking to my eldest, and my youngest daughter kind of listens in because I kind of do it just before bedtime. And so
what's interesting? I think there's a bit of an osmosis that goes on, isn't there, with kids? Because I know that when we do the podcast, Sophie jumps in, doesn't she, and gets involved. And I mean, we've got a bit. I've got a bit of a bigger age gap because Charlotte's now of an age where she's thinking about driving lessons. That is the most scary thing in the world. But are they going to really let you out on the road?
Not yet. I don't know if to drive yet.
But there's an element of whatever you do with your eldest, the youngest just pick up on, don't they?
Exactly. Yeah, no, exactly. So, the younger one knows some of the concepts, but she's definitely picking it up. And she likes the stories as well, because I try and put some of the teachings into like little stories. So she kind of likes the stories, even if she doesn't get all the...
You definitely do voices, Will. Tell me you do voices.
Very rarely.
You've always got to try and put voices in because it makes it more fun. I mean, I'm not good at accents or stuff like that, but you gotta try.
Look, regular listeners of the podcast will know that my accents are
atrocious,
terrible, but I do give it a go. Probably offending most people. I try and do it on the way.
And then you try and get me to do it, and it's a bit like, well, I don't really want to offend people.
No, got it.
So tell us a little bit about Blue Tree Savings.
Yeah. So Blue Tree is trying to help parents teach their kids about money. So rather than me going in to talk to kids directly and saying this is about money, it's trying to empower parents to say you should have these kind of conversations with your children from a young age. And then, so that both parents kind of learning as well, because it's not as if parents all know about money themselves.
It's not a skill that we learned at school,
exactly.
Was it? Yeah.
Right, exactly. So what I want to try and do is help parents do that, so they kind of learn at the same time, but also teach their kids, but also makes the parents try and be good role models as well. Because if they're the example I use is my children are learning about the environment at school. And now they just hold me accountable. Like if I go near some plastic, they're like, "Daddy," and I think the same bit with money. So if you're like wasting your money and your kids know about money, they'll tell you off, and it means that you. That's a good example.
But that accountability is a tool we all need in our lives, right? You know, I've got I run and I try and keep relatively fit, and I've got this little heart rate monitor that I wear to the gym, and it gamifies my fitness because it gives me a rating, and actually that keeps me accountable because I know that if I don't hit a certain activity target every month, I'll lose a ranking on the game, and that gamification, I think, and we'll talk a little bit about this later on, but the gamification element plugs into our psychology, doesn't it? You know about that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're talking about stuff that's kind of closely related to conditioning.
Yeah. Yeah, so social conditioning, isn't it? Yeah.
Operant conditioning, because you get rules. Yeah. I'm not going to go on a psychology tangent right now.
I love it.
No.
So what's operant conditioning, by the way?
It's basically, they did these experiments. Well, I say they. Skinner did.
you make it sound so sinister.
They I don't know exactly which psychologist did it. Skinner did these experiments where he put rats and pigeons in boxes, and he made a little light go off, and if the rat or the pigeon pushed the lever, they would get fed. And if they didn't push the lever when the light went off, they got electrocuted. So it kind of taught them that, hey, when the light goes off, we push the button and we get good things, which is sort of like how gambling machine works, and like gamification of stuff as well.
But interestingly, it's about using those psychology techniques to benefit us as opposed to I mean, gambling's an interesting one, isn't it?
Yes.
Because I suppose gambling is one of the things that can be certainly detrimental to our own finances, but uses the same techniques that we can personally use to build good habits.
Yes.
And I know that one of the things that sort of you said in one of your recent blogs that I loved, by the way, is the importance of just getting really good habits in place. Tell us a little bit about that. Why do you think habits are so fundamentally important?
Because when I started doing all the research about children and money, I just didn't realize how important, I knew it was important, but I didn't realize how important teaching your kids and starting early is. So there's a research by Cambridge University that says kids actually get most of their habits formed by the age of 7, which most people wouldn't have kids even have any association with money, let alone form these habits. But no, the habits essentially drive your future kind of financial well-being. So if you have a child that's never been taught to save at all, and they don't learn it naturally, they only learn that money is for spending. If they don't learn about saving, the chances of them saving and being good with money when they're adults is very, very slim. Well, and that's essentially what's happened in kind of
that goes back to, I mean, the bit of research that I love about this particular subject is the marshmallow test.
I love that one. Yes.
Because that is effectively testing how good you are at delaying gratification, isn't it? And that, are you doing the marshmallow test?
We are doing delayed gratification in sociology.
Okay, cool. And what are you learning about it?
We taught.
Welcome to exam time with Charlotte Dames.
Welcome to me taking a lot of the social stuff for A levels.
Yeah.
But basically, like, people who know how to delay gratification are more likely to be able to achieve in not only like in the real world but also in schools and universities, because that's a lot about putting in the work to reach an eventual goal instead of just doing what you want now.
But I mean, it goes back to that immediate and eventual, doesn't it? And building those habits to do the eventual goals. I didn't realise this was going to be so like psychological. I'm loving it.
But on that, have you seen the video for that? So just for benefit of everyone. So the marshmallow experiment is they put children in a room with one marshmallow and said, if you don't eat the marshmallow for 5 minutes, you get 2 marshmallows. And then they tracked what happened to those children as they grew up. And the ones that didn't eat the marshmallow and got the 2 had a sort of better life, essentially.
Well, I mean, the original experiments were in the 60s, but I think the video you're talking about was when they redid it recently, and it's funny. It's so good.
Yeah, so there's one girl in it. I'd love to know what happens to her. So she took the marshmallow and she ate the insides. So it looked, like it hadn't been eaten. Yeah. She's probably in jail or something.
Yeah. I don't know if that like shows sociopathic tendencies.
It's genius. Just like
it's genius.
Not realising there's a camera and they can see that she's...
You know what, Will? The funniest one for me was the young lad who sniffed it. And he was doing everything apart from eating it. He was like sort of looking at it, and I think one of them gave it a little lick.
I would be tempted to pull it apart and make a little like people out of it.
Yeah. That's all good. So that was the first part of the interview with Will. He was good, wasn't he? Yeah. And on that note, we are at the
end of the podcast.
Did you think I was going for a fist bump there?
Yeah, I had to read the
end. You know what? The weird thing is we're recording this on video podcast, listeners, because and weirdly I use this for my boxing training, and when I do it, it does look like very weird. Anyway, tis
the end of another podcast.
Thank you. And on that note, the end is never really the end, because
the end is always the beginning.
The end is always the beginning of something else. And last week we asked you what your most ambitious goal was for 2020, and I want to share some of the things that we talked about. So Chris Haycock said, my ambitious goal in 2021, sorry, not 2020, 2020's gone.
No.
Chris Haycock, I was going to say something incredibly rude there. Chris Haycock said, my goal in 2021 is to semi-retire. Tracy wants this virus to end in 2021, or at least us to get back some sense of normality. Hazel has an amazing 2021 aspiration. She wants to have a big family party in May for my mum's 80th birthday. Then I want to get out to Nepal with 2 groups. Hazel, we've interviewed for the podcast already. She runs a really amazing charity in Nepal, so certainly she wants to get that moving forward again. Judith said she wants to get to her target weight. Mike Christie said, I want to get back on my bike again when the roads aren't as slippery. Sarah Robinson wants to successfully launch her magazine and leave her day job. Caroline Thompson says she wants to pull off her wedding in Greece on October the 21st. Katie Fragoli said, I want to complete my Sahara track for mental health in October. I've got the marathon in October, but the Sahara track is definitely on my bucket list. Trev Robinson said, I want to get the chance to push forward and create more photo shoot opportunities and grow my photography business. Gloria said, achieve a healthy balance between work, family and me time.
I love Gloria's use of emojis. They're awesome.
Yeah, she had a scowls emoji when she answered that question, which is certainly appropriate. So well done on the emoji action, Gloria. Lucy Patrick said, I want to finish decorating and be able to get the material to do it. David Forsyth's got a work one. He wants to write a £4 million mortgage. Judy Bell says, in 2021, I want to be the best person I can be. Justin Gaffney is be debt free in 2021. Sharon Brower wants to grow her business in 2021. Fiona wants to help more people receive good quality independent financial advice and have 70 clients on her books. Goals for 2021 for Heidi are promotion, got a couple of job applications on go at the minute, so she's hopeful with that. Sean wants to ride London to Paris in aid of Hart and Essex Air Ambulance. Al McCann wants to be fit enough for the London to Brighton bike ride. And Al Bowley to get his life back on track and possibly a family holiday. They are amazing aspirations to have, people. Thank you for sending them in. We really appreciate it. Don't forget to comment on the next question of the podcast, which is, what's your favourite smell?
Well, actually, people have already been commenting on them, and actually, the answers are quite interesting.
Yeah, we've got a few already, so thank you for doing that because we share it on social media early. Now, are we doing Joke of the Week? Have you been reading your Reader's Digest, or do you need me to fill for about 90 seconds?
About 90 seconds, please.
About 90 seconds. So, we are really loving being back and doing the Kindness Project because these are the first ones we're doing relatively live for some time. So thank you for our audience for joining us. I am trying to feel as well as I can. As Charlotte uses the Reader's Digest for the first time I've heard of it in a number of years to have a stunning joke. And as I've been filling for so long, this joke better be good. Charlotte.
What do you call an alligator detective? An investigator.
A what?
An investigator.
That so wasn't worth the wait, was it? Let's be honest. And on that note, an investigator. There you go. Yes. You need to sack the readers. You need to cancel your Reader's Digest subscription.
I don't have one.
Maybe the jokes are better when you subscribe. I don't know. And on that note, we'll see you next week.
Bye.